What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bartender Hideout. Welcome to the second episode of this cocktail countdown. I'm happy you guys are here as well with me. Let's get into it right now. We're going to be checking out the number 2 on the list of 50 most popular cocktails in the world, published by Drinks International. As I said before, if you want to have a look at the list, you can check it out in the box below. I'll post it in the info so you can kind of tag along as you may. For the history of the Negroni, let's take you back to 1919. There's this bar, Caffè Cassoni, and that's where this guy is working, Fosco Scartelli. And he was the bartender at that specific day that this guy walked in, Count Negroni, or Count Camillo Negroni. This guy was a metropolitan man. He traveled the world. He lived in America for all of his 20s. Basically was a cowboy, riding horses, getting to know stuff. And he lived in New York as well for a while, where he ended up in a lot of trendy bars, got to know the scene a little bit, and got to learn all these trendy drinks and classical drinks that weren't really a thing yet, at least not in Italy. After that, he moved to London, where he lived as well for a little while, and they had a prevalent gin scene. So this guy, he walks into the bar, asks Fosco, "My man, I want you to make me an Americano, but I want you to change it for me. So swap out the soda water, put in some gin, and make that for me." So that's what happened. Fosco made him his drink. Ended up being an amazing drink. People loved it, and it became the talk of the town. People only come to the bar for a Negroni, because that's the guy who made it up, right? The Negroni family took full advantage of this, and they opened a distillery in 1919, so basically in the same year, and they made and sold this Antico Negroni, which is a completed drink which people could just buy and then get out of there and get drunk. This distillery is still open to this day. I think it's under a different management, so it's not the Negroni family anymore, but yeah, at least it's still there. So when it comes to the appearance of the Negroni, it looks super sweet, or at least the color makes you think that. But once you actually taste it, it is bitter and it has these strong notes. No sugar or any syrups masking it. For me personally, I don't love it, but I used to work back in New Zealand with a couple of guys that actually were dying for it at the end of the shift. Pretty much every night, or when they had like a night off, they would come in and drink Negronis all night. Yeah, they would be here for this episode, but I'm not in New Zealand, so that kind of makes it impossible. Okay, let's get into it. So we're gonna start off first with our gin. I chose to use a Hendrix, and we are gonna be adding 30 ml of that, or 1 ounce. Then after that, this is like a super easy cocktail, only 3 ingredients. I'm gonna be using the Campari. Again, 1 ounce of that. And then the last ingredient is gonna be an Antica Formula sweet vermouth. You can use a martini, you can use whatever sweet vermouth you find. I just ended up having this here, which made it a good choice for me, because I actually personally love this vermouth as well, just for its flavor. It's a great thing. And after that, this is, again, just like the old fashioned from last week, this is a stirred cocktail, so we're gonna add a bunch of ice to the mixing glass and stir around our cocktail. Again, to dilute it and to make sure that harshness of the Negroni doesn't come through as much, so we don't really feel like we're just sipping alcohol here, even though for some people that's not really a bad thing. There is 2 different ways of doing this. You can also roll the drink, which means you're basically dropping it from one shaker into the other to aerate the drink. it doesn't really matter which one you choose. The dilution is a little bit stronger once you roll it than when you actually use the spoon. Again, that's just up to personal preference and how you would like to make this drink yourself. Then we are gonna get a glass. First, actually, let's make sure that we did a proper job. Give it a taste. Yep, that tastes like a Negroni, all right. Okay, let's pour this bad boy out. See if we did a good job. Let's first get our clear ice cube. You don't have to use a clear ice cube. I just think it looks amazing in any drink that's just great, like an old-fashioned or a Negroni. It just, look at what it does for it. That just looks amazing. Then, as same as last week, we're going to be using an orange peel as a garnish. One of the things we are not going to do is, so we are going to squeeze over it. Last week I actually used it to coat the rim as well in the bitters of the orange peel. With this drink, we just kind of don't really want to do that, since it just makes it that much more bitter, and it can kind of throw off the balance of the Negroni as well. So put that up right there. There you go, guys. That's a Negroni. Let's get into tasting it. As I said, still not my favorite drink in the world, but the way it is right now, I mean, I could drink it. If this get put on the table for me and they go like, hey, you have to drink this, I would drink this. It's still a good drink. I mean, the fact that there is a lot of people, which shows since this drink is #2 on the list, there's a lot of people that actually love this drink, and I can see where they're coming from. If you're more of a bitters kind of guy or girl, whatever for that matter, if you really like these bitters, this kind of flavor, this is really a drink for you. And I mean, it shows since it's a #2 in the list. It has to come from somewhere, even if for the people that don't love it, it's still a great concoction. I mean, Count Negroni, hats off to you. You did a great job. Well, there you go, guys. That's your Negroni. Make sure that if you love this video, if you love what we do, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in for next week's video as well. There's a lot of new videos coming in. We're gonna be posting every week, and make sure to tune in for those ones. See ya.